Hi, everyone. It's your girl, Lisa. I hope everybody's okay. I'm not going to be on here too long because the weather is doing something awfully funky. The wind picked up and it's thundering and lightning, so I'm not going to be on here too long. But I just wanted to touch bases and see how everybody's doing. Um, I'm doing okay. Some of y'all know that I am going back to school for my associate's degree in September. Um, Yay me, September 2nd. So, yay. Doing it online, but I'm going to be going through Finger Lakes Community College, um, somewhere in New York. I never even heard of Finger Lakes, New York. Uh, so one day I might have to take a little trip up that way just to get a feel for it. I would have to go through. I would have to go to Albany to go to Amtrak, and it would take me right in that area. So see, just to see where it's at. So I am officially a Lakers girl. And no, not the LA Lakers. So anyway, as you can see, I got tape because, this person, the smart one in the room, she broke it. So now I have to get another set of headphones. I'm like, I do well with not even the earbuds, but the earpiece that goes over your ear. I do absolutely fabulous with that. You give me this, and this is what happens. Maybe I should keep stuff off my bed. Mm. Because I got a king size bed, and whenever I use it in my room, instead of me getting up and moving it, I kind of leave it there and be meaning to move it the next day, and always seem to forget. You know, um, and if you hear extra noise in the back, that's because I got my fan going, my AC going, and the fan is hitting the plastic on the on one of my diamond paintings. So I'm trying to keep cool, which is another reason why I'm probably not going to be on here too long because it gets hot in here. It gets hot in this room. So even with the window open, the fan going, the air conditioner open. I mean open on. You know, it's fine earlier in the day, but as you get later into the day, it's like it starts to get hot. Anywhere between 1 and 4, it starts to amp up. So um that's another reason why I ain't gonna be on here too long. No. Plus I'm doing this because I'm learning how to edit. I'm learning how to edit, so I'm doing stuff, you know. I'm looking into taking cruise next year. It's a 7-day Bermuda on a Norwegian. Actually, the new one that just came out in like April. Um, the Aqua. Um, Believe it or not, it's the day after my birthday. Hmm. I'm like, oh, a birthday cruise, a birthday cruise. I think, and yes, I will be going by myself. I mean, have y'all seen the things that's going on with Carnival? And I'm just like really so tired of here. Not everything is racism, and for that demographic of people, when it don't go your way, the first word you go to is racist. Not everything has to do with race, but it has a lot to do with being ghetto ratchet, you know? I mean, when you go out in public, first of all, you ain't supposed to be having a bonnet on your head. And you ain't supposed to be in pajamas and flip flops, you know? Coming up as a kid, I know mama was like, oops. I know my mama was like, you ain't leaving here until your teeth are brushed and your hair is combed. You know, there was no way in the world we were leaving the house without our hair being done. You know, so when I see people with the bonnets, it's like, well, that's just as bad. That's letting people know, you know, and you know, and I'm like, I can always tell the direction because of the bonnets and the pajamas. Oh wait, we getting a good boost. Doggone it, you hear that? That's mean. Like somebody opened up, just cut the sky with a knife, and the water is like Niagara Falls right now. I apologize for that. You know that you can hear the rain. Um, but yeah, because they decide they want to switch up. You know, they have what they call ghetto fatigue, ghetto ratchet fatigue. Shoot, we all, even I got ghetto ratchet fatigue. You know, even I got it, and I'm just like, I've had enough. I said, we go places that we wouldn't normally be able to afford to go, and what do we do? Excuse me, I'm not gonna say what are we. What do y'all do? Y'all gonna turn around and cut up, and act fool. You know, you want to fight, you want to do all stuff, you want to turn up. You know, listen, my first cruise was last year on Norwegian, and I took it from Manhattan, New York, to Canada, to Nova Scotia was the last stop, and then came back. And them 7 days, I had a good damn time. And it was chill and it was relaxing. You know, I hung out with some of the nicest people on the ship. I was by myself. It didn't feel like I was by myself because, I hung out with some of the ladies on the ship, and I just had a good time, which is basically why Norwegian's my ship, because it's relaxed. That's a boat where if you want to vacay, I mean, you really relax and vacay, that would be the ship to go on. You got Carnival, you got Royal, you know. And so I'm like, my very first vacation in my life, and I will be 60 in about a week or two. In about 2 weeks, I'll be 60. Nah, my vacation. When I vacay. Obviously, you know. You know, and talk to my therapist about it. And she said, but Lisa, you do you realize what you did? Because people know that I deal with PTSD. And so my doctor said, "Are you aware of what you did when you went on that ship by yourself? When you went on that cruise?" And I was like, "No." She said, "You just did a self exposure." I said, "Really?" "Yeah." She said, You did yourself a self exposure." And basically, exposure means, because I've just recently gone through it in treatment, in therapy. You know, the exposure is basically when they kind of put you back into that traumatic space, and they have you go through it detail through detail through detail. And each time, because I was going like once a week, once every other week. So each time I would see her, you know, I'd get more detail, a little bit more specific, a little bit how I'm feeling, you know. And trust me, that was no easy feat, you know. And that's when I say that's what exposure means. When they put you in it through your trauma, and they have you go through the situation really detailed, and as time goes on, you're going to get more detailed, and you know that could really do something to somebody. You know what I'm saying? You in that, but I this is my therapy. So, and basically, me taking that cruise by myself, I did that for a reason. I wanted to be able to know that I will be okay traveling by myself and not have a panic attack because of it. I went by myself specifically so that I could do it on my own, and so that I wouldn't rely on other people to be a crutch for me outside of the obvious. Because when you go through a group of people, everybody want to do different things. So when it's just me, it was just a little easier that way anyway. Because whatever I wanted to do, I could. You know, um, but it is really coming down outside. But the cruise, was just able to allow me to dip my foot in the pool a little bit and know that I will be okay. You know, do I think the world is dangerous? Of course. Do I think everybody's dangerous? Well, no. I'm learning that, and me taking that cruise just proved to me that no, not everybody's dangerous. Like I said, I had a good time, mingled with people. I hung out with some of the ladies on the ship, and I had a good time. It was basically me dipping my foot in testing the waters. Me going from Manhattan to Canada, that was me kind of dipping my foot in the pool, and that went off. So now my next trip will be going to Bermuda. So we're traveling it out a little further because at the end of the day, I really would like to go to Europe, like Italy, Greece, Ireland, Greenland, all the way over there. That's my end. That's my bucket list, is to be able to, you know, go to Europe. you know. And, I just thank God that, you know, I let my PTSD get in the way, you know, and the way that would get in the way is unless I decide to go, you know where I'm going. But I'll be damned if I shell out 1,500 to 2 grand for a trip. Believe I'm going. If I got to kick myself in the behind, I'm going. Okay, so um, and then when I hear people say, well, I could never. First of all, I could never do it because I get seasick. I said honestly, as big as that ship is, you're not gonna feel the boat even move. You're really not gonna feel it move because I did not feel a thing. I think that is more geared to like very smaller boats. When you're on a smaller boat, you'll feel the motion of the sea. But when you're dealing with a cruise liner like Norwegian or Royal or Carnival, you're really not going to feel it because the ship is pretty big. You know, Norwegian had like 18 floors, and I had a good old time. So you really are not going to feel it. You know, um, and I proved something to myself. I did, with the help of my therapist, of course. But I did prove something to myself. I proved that everybody in this world is dangerous. Now, does that mean my guard down and not pay attention to what's around me? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, because I'm gonna always be alert. Because the minute I see danger, Will Robinson, I'm out of there. You know what I'm saying? So, not everybody is dangerous. I mean, we just really had a good time, and it did so much for my PTSD. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'ma always have to deal with this. There'll be times where the depression kick in. Will kick in. You know, I have the tools to help me through it. And like I tell people, it's okay not to be okay. Okay to ask for help when you need it. You know, because you know when Rome was built, you don't think one person didn't build Rome, and it was not built in a day. They had help. And it's okay to ask for help. We're not superhuman people. We're not. We gotta learn how to reach out and say, I cannot do this by myself. I need help. You know, and because I did that, my drug using days were over. I My drinking is non-existent unless I'm on the ship sipping mimosas. Yeah, but my drinking is really non-existent. Do I have alcohol in here? I do. I have some. I have a bottle of Moscato and I have a couple of Heinekens, which has been sitting there for a year at least. Well, the wine probably a little bit more. You know, and it's been sitting there collecting dust. Because at the end of the day, the reason I would drink now is to be social, not to not to drown out. whatever is going on inside my head. You know, now I can drink to be social. You know, although alcohol wasn't my drug of choice. You know, um, but alcohol, you know, almost did the same thing. It was legal, you know, but I don't need it. I do not need it. It's sitting there in my cabinet where it's been for like a year and a half, collecting dust. You know, I'm more of now a social drinker. You know, I go out with friends, I can have one or two drinks, and then that's a wrap for me. You know, because at the end of the day, I do know my limits. And since I'm not a heavy drinker, I mean, I was back in my 20s and 30s, but now since I'm not that heavy drinker, you know, two will suffice me. Because by the time I get third drink, I'm probably getting drunk. Okay. But I can have two drinks and I'm fine. You know, we went out on the club while we was on the ship and I was drinking gin and tonics. I had, and I was not even drunk. I was not even drunk. And that was the point. You know, social drinking, you know, especially when you're dealing with me, especially when I'm dealing with mental health issues, you know, alcohol really does not help. It does not, you know, but I also know that working on my issues that brought me to the drugs in the first place, I don't even have that urge anymore. I don't. I don't. I talk about it, you know, to my therapist. I come on here, I talk about it, you know, because at the end of the day, if my story can help just one person, then it's all worth it. You know, it's easy to get into some mess, it's hard to get out. And I'm not saying you can't get out, I'm just saying it's harder to get out, you know. And for me, I really had to work on the my trauma issues, you know. And I'm still working on my trauma issues. And I will always be working on my trauma issues, you know, because I'm doing well. I'm doing good. And I know if I was to take my eye off the prize and I look a little to the left or a little to the right, everything can come crashing down on me. And I can't afford that, you know. Before before you even think about picking up and using, ask yourself, is it worth it? What are you going to lose if you do? Because I know I would have a whole lot to lose. You know, you ask yourself those questions. You know, and there's going to be times when people just don't care, and there are other times like, well, you know what, you may be right. You know, because you know, like I'm single, I don't have no kids. You know, I'm alone. I'm by myself. You know, so there's no here to take care of me but me. You know, do I need anybody to take care of me? No. But would it be nice to have somebody help? Of course. Of course. I can't expect nobody to help take care of me if I can't take care of myself. I have to take care of myself. I haven't been in a relationship since 2015. You know, I've been by myself since 2015. I have not been with anybody. It's just me. And it's nice to know that I know I can take care of myself. You know, excuse me, I'm going to have a little Pepsi. My throat is a little dry. So it's okay to take care of yourself. And see, when I see females do this, it's like, but why are you depending on a man to take care of you? Shouldn't you take care of you? Because once you take care of you, anything else will follow. But it has to start with you. You have to know how to take care of yourself. Don't sit back and wait for somebody to take care of you. Like I said, I don't expect a man to take care of me. I don't. Would it be nice to have help? Yes. Help me take care of me. Yes. The key word is help. I don't want you to take care of me, but I would like some help in taking care of me. Big difference. There's a big difference. Because when you expect somebody to take care of you, right? You are putting a whole lot of weight on their shoulders because they want you to do this. They want you to cook, clean, laundry, take care of the kids, work. Meanwhile, what are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, when somebody helps you, you know, he'll go out, he's got a job, you take care of the home. You take care of the laundry, the cooking, the cleaning, and the kids. Okay, the kids we can do half and half, you know. But that's what I mean when I say help. I don't expect you to do it all. I do not expect you to do it all. I expect us to come to a middle ground. You go out, you work, I take care of home, I take care of side of home, you know, you take care of the bills, I'll take care of the rest, and if I need a little, I should be able to ask, okay, I need a little help with this. And that's what I mean by help. Big difference. When you sit back and let the man do everything or your partner do everything, that's not even help. That's just somebody taking care of you. Period. You know, um, so, me dealing with, my PTSD. And you know what? At the end of the day, I'm glad I had this time. I'm glad because I was just like everybody else. I don't like being alone. Now, just because I'm alone don't mean I'm lonely. Okay. Um, I never used to like being alone. I had to actually learn how to be by myself. Okay. I learned how to be by myself. And I think as women these days, we need to learn that. We need to learn that it's okay to have help, but then it's okay if I don't have help. Because at the end of the day, I'm still going to take care of me. You know? So I think, I think it's, you know crucial to us, especially women, where we can learn to sit somewhere and be quiet and just take care of ourselves. Love that little person inside that was probably been wounded many decades ago. You know, be quiet sometimes. You know, let and whatever it is you need to learn, whatever it is you need to take care of, take that opportunity to take it to take that opportunity to deal with yourself, to take care of yourself. Take it. That's an opportunity. You know, and this was my opportunity. I've been doing this for 10 years. Does it stress me out? No, it don't. It does not. Absolutely. You know, when I first moved in this house in 2018, it felt awkward. It felt awkward. Everything was too quiet. I didn't know what to do with myself. I really didn't know what to do with myself. I didn't have internet. I yet I didn't have anything but electricity. So, but as the time went on, I learned, okay, so this is my time. I need to be quiet and need to take care of me and love the little girl inside of me that has been wounded so many years ago. You know, and then and think about it. Think about it. With you being taking that time off, you know, you get to realize yourself. You get to find yourself. You get to see what it is that you like and you don't like in a relationship. Because a lot of times, we females, we get out of one relationship and we go right into another, and then another, and then another. So we don't have a clue of who we are or even know what we want. Okay. By the way, I am not a therapist. I'm just somebody that deals with PTSD. I try to put that disclaimer in the beginning, but a lot of times us women, we don't know what we want. And you know why? Because we don't take the time out for ourselves to go, pause, you know, uh, pause, pause that, because I need a woosah moment. Okay. And that's one thing I learned, you know, being being quiet for the last 10 years. Because now I can see what it is I want. I can see what it is I like. I can see what it is I don't like. I can see the things that I will tolerate. I can see the things I won't tolerate. And that's one of the major purposes of being quiet. Because I used to do it too. And the man. Like they say, to get over when you. Well, no, that's not good either, because what you're doing is you're taking the baggage from the last relationship and bringing it in the new relationship. And now that person is unfairly taking heat from what happened in your previous relationship. So maybe we should just stop, take some time out after that one ends. Just, you know, let me woosah and let me get myself together before I try to get into another one. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. I know it's supposed to be talking about mental health, and I did a little bit, and I kind of got a little off topic a little bit, you know. But these are the things that, you know, when I see it, it's like, why? Just why? You know, that is my motto and mantra of 2025. Why? Just, just why? You know. Um. So on that note, I'm gonna let this go. Oh, I got a new video to edit. Yay. And I'm not gonna set a date because every time I set a date, I'm gonna come back either one or two things. Either I have an appointment or I forget. So I will drop another one soon. Now that I got edit, now I'm starting to learn editing. I might be doing it a little bit more frequently. You know what I mean? Nah, I mean, I think. So I want to wish everybody, I said, in 2 weeks, I will be a whole 60, not 16, because I done passed that. That shit done sailed. So, that note, I wish everybody a blessed day. And then until next time, be good, be safe, and most of all, love yourself.